So now we move on to the 18th century in Europe. We start with the Rococo art as the first characteristic. It mainly had paintings that showed the lifestyle of the aristocracy, and at that time they had a lot of political power and a lot of wealth. Most paintings showed them during their leisure time, and the characteristics of Rococo art was elaborate ornamentation. It was asymmetrical, the colors were pastel, and the lines were curved or serpentine. The themes usually was love and classical myths, playfulness, and sometimes they were scandalous. It showed couples in a theme that might be amoral. Like this painting we see here, how she's sort of lifting her legs so the man hiding in the bushes can sort of take a look, and I'm assuming that that's her boyfriend or husband that's pushing her on the swing. And then we move on to salons, art academies, and the Grand Tour. Art academies controlled all the artistic production that was made, and they would say who and what was going to go on in the art world. They set the standards, and that was the only way you could make commissions. You had to be trained by the academy and become officially an artist after that training. You had to have made representational art, copy an old master from the Renaissance. You had to do the drawing style, they said, and the painting style that they said. And the subject matter of what you painted had to be, the most important was historical and mythology. After that, it was portraits, usually of monarchs or noble people. Third was landscapes, and then fourth was genre scenes, and last, the least important, was still lifes. Salons were used to do the art exhibits. That was the only place you could show your artwork. And in order to show your artwork at the salons, you had to attend the academy. And in order to show it, a jury would decide if your painting was worthy to be exhibited in the salon. A lot of aristocrats went on the Grand Tour, which was they would go to Paris, Venice, Florence, and Rome, and they would tour all the masterpieces. Usually they had financial means to do it and an interest in art, and they did it to learn from the classics, and they took back home what they learned, and it was influenced in different parts of the world because they took home influences from those areas. Then we move into neoclassicism, the third characteristic. This is opposition to Rococo. It promotes Posini's ideal, which is drawing is morally better, cerebral, it's not sensual. And neoclassicism was linear perspective. The subject matter was historical, biblical, and there was no visible brushstrokes. And obviously it was influenced by the High Renaissance, the classical paintings from that era. The influence of the 18th century was the Enlightenment. The scientific revolution made people think more rationally, and they believed in science and reason. So everybody started questioning traditional ideas. Um, they didn't believe the king had the divine right to rule, so they questioned the monarchy, they questioned the church and authorities. And that's how the principles of democracy developed, where people had the right to decide their future. And that's the end of the 18th century.